By the finish of World War II, whole new technologies had been born. The atomic bomb was a fact. Planes had started to fly by jet power. Rocket scientists were laying the groundwork for the space age. The United States had become the most powerful nation in the history of the world. It was a new level of responsibility. And it didn't go unchallenged. There was Korea, for example.
On Sunday, June 25th, Communist forces attacked the Republic of Korea. This attack has made it clear beyond all doubt that the international communist movement is willing to use armed invasion to conquer independent nations. An act of aggression such as this creates a very real danger to the security of all free nations. We have sent land, sea, and air forces to assist in these operations. We have done this because we know that what is at stake here is nothing less than our own national security and the peace of the world.
Patriotism to me is doing something in defense of your country, love of your country. And you could see it. I saw men come in privates and go back as first lieutenants a year later. And you don't do that unless you really have the feeling, you have that patriotic feeling toward your country. I mean, this is a good country. I fought for it twice. I'll fight for it again if I have to.
Only once since then have large numbers of American service people been called on to fight overseas. Vietnam. And this, maybe more than any other conflict, tested the steadiness and the strength of the citizen soldier. Today's Army is called a volunteer army, and it is. The men and women who wear the Army uniform today are volunteers, just like those citizen soldiers of the Revolution 200 years ago. They're committed citizens, not only to their military community, but to the civilian community as well. There's the same rich variety that marked Americans from the beginning, and the same unifying determination, that right to see things and express ideas in our own way, belongs to us all.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.
When you fall out, you won't fall out like some things after you, men. Do you understand?
Yes, yes, yes!
I pulled 3 tours in Vietnam from period 1963 until 1971. And there was never what we would normally refer to as a war, in as much as, you know, 2 lines of men fighting each other. It was simply guerrilla activity and hit and run. You hit, they hit, and then they run, then you chase them. My feeling about the Vietnam War is that as a proud nation that had they been more trained and had they had better leadership, they would have eventually won the war themselves. I believe that if I had it to do over, I'd do it again.
We always knew that you would not forget us, that you would not leave us in that foreign land. Our thoughts were always of our God, our families, and the honor of America. God bless America and its wonderful people. Thank you.
The V had told us for so long that the American public wasn't behind us, but yet they were out there hollering, God bless America. You could tell that there were the Americans that fought in every war since time began, since we've been a country. It made you proud again to be an American. Proud that maybe that we did something there, that it wasn't all in vain. There were Americans behind us. And that people like the V will never last and never endure with theirs because they rule with fear, and that's the only thing they know. They only know force, and they only know fear. And if they can't rule with that, they don't rule. We don't act like that. Those Americans are free, and they're there because they're free men. Those children were hollering and screaming because they wanted to, not because someone was forced them to or someone drove them up there to make them do it. And that's enough to make you proud. In those 5 or 6 years that we spent up there, or 7 or whatever they may be, were worth that. And maybe those children won't have to go fight.
Well, I was born in East Texas, and I used to watch convoys go by quite a bit. They would go by often enough for me to get a chance to see them, say, every other month or so, during the summertime especially. And to me, that was very glorious. And I guess, to me, as a child, it was like a Superman is to a kid today, you know, or being some great space hero or something. So I just sort of wanted to swing into that type of thing, and that's what I am now. And I enjoy it quite a bit. Give me a chance to do something for man, humanity, and the United States of America also. I know today many people feel that the word patriotism doesn't have any meaning, but I think that depends upon the individual. My definition of the word patriotism is really just being loyal to what you believe in, a right to fight and to win that fight for whatever, who wants to ever take the right away from you. Patriotism is freedom, you know, and there is a saying that goes that freedom has a cost, and it has a taste, a flavor that many people never get a chance to taste of because they don't have to fight for it. And being a part of the Army, that's our first thing, is to go through that type of drill, to understand that for others to be free, you might have to lose your own life. But then blood that is spent or cut or dropped or however it is spilled for the cause of freedom is being a true patriot.
To me, patriotism is simple. You love your country, you take care of it. That's it.
It's a good country. It's a country worth loving. There's an awful lot of good people. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but let's face it. If you're waiting for perfection, you'll never love anything.
I don't know. Maybe you just can't help loving the place that happens to be your place.
I guess maybe what it all boils down to is this. When it comes to the quality we call patriotism, everybody has a voice. Anybody can tell you what patriotism is to him, but nobody can tell you what it has to be for you. Since this soldier's time, just about everything has changed. Just about everything. But one thing stays the same. We are still, each of us, one of a kind, individual, non-interchangeable. We built everything on that idea, and it still stands up. It's alive and well, and it's working in the United States. The idea, whatever you call it, however you describe it, or if you choose not to describe it at all, the thing called patriotism is every individual's legacy and private property. It's mine, and wherever you are right now, and whoever you are, it's yours. Have it your way. I wish you well.